Welcome, everybody, to season 5. Can you believe how many years it's been?
I cannot. It's been a long journey.
It has been a long journey. And what do we have to show for it? So many
Nothing.
things.
Do we, though?
Well, so many things.
Things that, when you have guests over, you put them in the closet and lock the door.
No, that's not true. Every
And
chance I get, I
and
advertise.
specifically say, don't go in that room.
Nah. Our chat about fingernails, that was a riot, a hoot. People loved it. Season 5 is going to, aside from the tournament for the first 2 episodes of season 5, the rest is going to be, it's going to be the gross out season. We're going to be talking about things that nobody wants to hear at the dinner table, but we're going to inject them anyway.
I always thought that's what this podcast needs, a way to drive more people away.
No, come on. People love it.
Do they?
A lot of the popular radio broadcasters are doing gross out stuff, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, they did in the 90s, but...
You know, this up and coming Howard Stern. I don't know this guy, but he's apparently really popular these days.
Yeah, he sure is. Well, there you go. You can be the next shock jock.
It fits with my favorite movie so far, right?
That is true.
Maybe that's my calling.
It might be. You need to get into radio.
I have a face for radio.
Does Portugal have any popular shock jocks?
Oh, I have no idea. They probably do. You have to know the language to understand whether it's a shock jock or just a regular jockey.
All right, well, let's get the show on the road, guys. On the last episode, we narrowed down our tournament
Do you
of
want
things.
to, let's start with, so that people who don't want to hear about the tournament, maybe let's start with the movie review and the word of the fortnight, and then the rest
I
of
think
it.
it'd be better to end with the movie review.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, well, let's do it.
Let's just skip to the end. You can skip around. It's all good. Use your mouse, use your key finger, drag that little bar down towards the end if you don't want to listen to Pokemon stuff. Or just listen anyways, because we need the views desperately.
Support us by listening to our tournament findings.
Do 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 do. So last time, all of season 4, we've been doing a tournament judging the cries of the legendary Pokemon and Scyther. And today is the finals. We've narrowed it down to 2. We don't know who these Pokemon are. We're also going to reveal those today. We're judging them purely on the cries. So here we go. All right. This is the finals. This is matchup 94 of the 94 matchups. And it's between Pokemon 45 and 58. We're going to reveal who those are momentarily. Here we go. The finals of the Tournament of Things. Here's 45. Big ol' belly burp.
That's the classic. This is the toilet. This is all a prelude to what's to come in season 5.
Yeah, that's true, actually, according to you. And here is 58. The Laughing Monkey.
And this is the lesser of the 2. I know you liked the other one more, but
I liked the
nevertheless.
other one, yeah.
Well, you know my vote. You already know. That's right.
Well, Raji's voting for 45 to be crowned the victor. And my vote goes towards also 45.
Oh, look at that. Swayed by the toilet.
If you're shock jockey, you need sounds.
Exactly. Yeah. Now you're already on board with this. I didn't even have to convince you.
I'm just helping you get there. Just helping you realize your potential, your dream.
It's fantastic, though. Look at that. Unanimous decision. 45 is the winner. Congratulations, too. And now we reveal the Pokemon.
If it was the other laugh that it was going up against, I would have voted for that. But this is the lesser laugh, so I have to give it. So 45 belongs to...
It belongs to Okidogi. You know, the sad thing is, I don't know what these Pokemon look like. Most of them I have never seen. So it's going to be interesting for me.
Okie dokie. Okay. So this is a cat-like Pokemon, actually.
It's a cat? It looks like a dog. It's a canine. It's a bulky bipedal canine Pokemon. So that's the one that has indigestion.
After all of its muscles were stimulated by the toxic chain around its neck, Okidogi transformed and gained a powerful physique. He's a ruffian with short temper, It can pulverize anything by swinging around the chain on its neck. It's poison and fighting, and its first introduction was... Oh, I was going to say I don't recognize this one either. That is because its first introduction is the DLC, my favorite mechanic in these days. The DLC of the newest Pokemon games, Scarlet and Violet.
Wow. So we picked a newbie.
We picked literally one of the newest ones we could. So that's your winner. And who did it go up against?
It beat out Zarude. Let me see Zarude.
Okay, this one's like a monkey.
You know, the funny thing is the color scheme is very similar.
They actually are, yeah. Yeah. They're both like black fur, and then they also have like some sort of a wrapping around them. In Zarude's case, it's like armbands.
But they're also like the green. They have the green, both of them, green accents, and purple. This guy has like a purple scarf.
And this guy is dark and grass, and he's from Sword and Shield, but event only. I don't know what event. With dense forest, this Pokemon lives in a pack with others of its kind. It's incredibly aggressive, and the other Pokemon of the forest fear it. Once the vines on Zarude's body tear off, they become nutrients in the soil. This helps the plants of the forest grow. So he's actually quite a good Pokemon. You know, very nice.
Yeah, the funny thing is, though, it's a good thing. Well, this is actually a lesson in judging by looks, because had we been able to see which Pokemon we were voting on, I would have picked neither of these, because I think that they both look terrible. Now, maybe that's because it's the modern generations, and I think they've fallen off. Game Freak has done a poor job with recent Pokemon, but yeah, they both look pretty bad, in my opinion.
Okay, so he's got an alternate form called Dada Zarude, and it was featured in the 23rd Pokemon movie, Secrets of the Jungle.
23. Only 23 movies so far.
Only 23 movies so far, that's it. And this was actually in the DLC of Sword and Shield. I knew the winning Pokemon was going to be from a later generation. They're just much more complicated sounds, right?
You just can't get that sound of toilets flushing from the older gens. You need those extra bits.
All right. So with that being said, let's, I guess, start at the beginning here. So the very first matchup we ever did was between 64 and 65. So here's the cry for 64. And 64 belonged to Terrakion.
It's another one I don't know. Let's see. Oh, it's like a bull. It's a bovine quadrupedal Pokemon. I'm going to Bovine University.
Introduced in Generation 5, rock fighting. Generation 5 was Pokemon Black and White. So he's like middle of the pack, right? This Pokemon came to the defense of Pokemon that had lost their homes in a war among humans. But again, because that was when was Black and White? Black and White was it Game Boy Advance, or was it? No, it was after Game Boy Advance. It was DS, I think.
Yeah, DS.
So still kind of a simpler sound effect. So that was Terrakion, and it went up against 65, which is Regieleki, and Regieleki is a lightning electric Pokemon from Generation 8. Generation 8 was Sword and Shield in the DLC. It sounds, I can believe it. And so Regieleki was a later added Pokemon of, I don't think they do it anymore, but the early Pokemon games, the first few generations, had like a group of common Pokemon. So like a group of common legendary Pokemon. So like the first game had Zapdos, Articuno, and Moltres, right? And the second game had Suicune, Entei, and Raikou. And the third game had the Regi golems. So it had Regirock, Regice, Registeel. And then later on they got the Eevee treatment, where they added Regieleki and they added Regidrago. This Pokemon's a cluster of electrical energy. It's said that removing the rings of the Regieleki's body will unleash the Pokemon's latent power. Number 49. That beautiful sound
is Celebi. I finally know this one.
Raji will actually know. Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
I probably know like 10% of these.
I've played all of them, but I don't know most of the legendary Pokemon. I said before that, a lot of legendary Pokemon are like post-game content.
Well, it's funny because most of the time they're on the cover.
Well, no, if it's a cover Pokemon, you get it as part of the game.
I guess you're talking about like, because each game probably has multiple legendaries. It's just that the ones on the cover are the big ones.
again, like in the first game, well, okay, red and blue you don't get either, but in the second game you get like Ho and Lugia, right? Those are the cover Pokemon. But in the second game, there's also the three dogs, or the cats, or whatever they are, right? So, and then there's some beyond that, right? Like Celebi. This is a Gen 2 Pokemon.
I guess a good way to know your legendaries is by watching those 23 movies, because I think every movie has a legendary.
Yeah, I think they all focus around a legendary or several.
Or, yeah, multiple. Sometimes they'll combine the generations, like in the case of Lugia with the legendary birds.
I think they make it pretty obvious in the games what Pokemon are legendary Pokemon. They make a biggish deal about them. They might be locked away, or there might be a small storyline that leads to them, things like that. So there's always I would say there's always at least half a dozen legendary Pokemon in any generation of game, and probably more towards the later ones. But a lot of them, and you get the main ones in the story. So like Ho and Lugia and that, like, you encounter those early on. Even in the later ones, you encounter the legendaries before you end the game. But then the other legendaries are usually post-game stuff, or you got to go out of your way or whatever. And I just go, maybe next time. So I don't know a lot of these either. I'll know more than you for sure, but not a lot of them. Anyway, Celebi is from Gen 2, so Gold and Silver. And it's the guardian of Ilex Forest. Could you get Celebi in the main game? Didn't it used to be like a event Pokemon? Oh yeah, it was event Pokemon. You get him in Crystal, which was the third super version.
The one that they didn't remake. They chose to remake the two individual versions.
I'll never understand why they only make the base versions and not the super versions. I just don't get it. But Celebi's grass and psychic, and this Pokemon wanders across time. Grass and trees flourish in the forests in which it has appeared. All right, so Celebi went up against number 80. Here's their sound.
Oh my god, this one was the
That was
big
a
one.
big, strong sound. Celebi lost to this one, and this one is Zekrom.
Oh yeah, looks menacing, just like the sound.
Yeah, so Zekrom is a title Pokemon of Black and White. It is the title Pokemon of Black.
It's on the cover. Apparently, no, it's the mascot of Pokemon White.
White.
It's the opposite.
I'm wrong. The black Pokemon is the mascot of Pokemon White, and the white Pokemon is the mascot of Pokemon Black.
It's very racially diverse.
So he's Dragon and Electric. He's a pretty cool Pokemon. I like this one. Concealing itself in lightning clouds, it flies throughout the Unova region. It creates electricity in its tail. I think probably Electric has like my favorite Pokemon designs.
Really? Electric?
Yeah, there's a lot of good Electric type Pokemon I like.
I've always been partial to Electrode. I really like Electrode.
Electro's good.
Really unique design, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the upside down Pokeball. Yeah.
I love that, though. When I was younger, I just thought that was hilarious.
No, but I like them. I like the Magnemite chain ending in Magnezone, which was later added.
Get in the zone, Magnezone.
I like Ampharos from Gen 2. I like Zapdos.
Yeah, my favorite, I think, at some point was Zapdos. My favorite Pokemon of all time. It's just so spiky, It's like you want to just cuddle it and see how shocked and stabbed you get. Is Jolteon your favorite Eevee evolution?
Of the original ones, yeah, I think it probably is. Of all of them, it still might be. I just have to, look at them again.
There's like 20 of them now, right?
Yeah, there's a bajillion of them now. We could do a Pokemon tournament of things just on the evolutions.
And again, I only know 10% of them.
Yeah, exactly. So there you go. So Zekrom moved on in the first bracket. In round 3, it got knocked out in round 3. And 65, which was, what was 65? Regieleki in round 2. Let's do 48 and 81. Here's 48. And that belongs to Dialga. I don't really expect that voice to come from this guy.
Yeah, I don't know. That kind of sounds birdy to me.
Yeah, actually, I thought Dialga was I was confusing Dialga with like Latios and Latias, and then I was like, okay, but that's not what it is.
No, it's a dark blue sauropod. I don't know what a sauropod is. What is that? Very long-necked dinosaur. Let's call it that. It's a dinosaur with a very long neck. So yes, like a brontosaurus, I guess.
It's Steel and Dragon. This is a mascot of the Pokemon Diamond game.
What was the other one? Diamond and
Pearl.
Pearl, yeah, okay.
Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. And also its remake, Brilliant Diamond, which people didn't like.
And Pearlescent Pearl?
Is that what it was called?
The other one? I don't know.
Shiny Pearl.
Shiny Pearl?
No, Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl.
Oh, why didn't they use Pearlescent Pearl?
Because nobody knows what pearlescent means.
But they could. They would know it. It's another one where it's like, well, Just remake Platinum.
Yeah, they didn't remake Platinum. Platinum was the much better game, of course, and they just went with the basic ones. I don't know why Game Freak is the way that it is.
It's all about the money. It's always about the money with them. Game Freak is a bunch of greedy people.
If they put out Platinum, then they'll only be able to sell one game.
Really, the smart thing would have been to release, what was it, Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, and
then Platinum later.
something Platinum.
Oh, yeah, just do them all three. Just do all three at the same time. They've never tried that before. See Game Freak, and then you sell the 3-pack, and then you make even more
sell
money.
the 3-pack, absolutely. And then you go back and you say like, oh, now we're going to sell the 3-pack of the new games, but we're also going to include a digital version of each of the old games on the virtual console. Come on, listen to us. That'll be like $300.
And you really need to incentivize getting all three, so you have to lock content in Platinum behind something you have to do in Diamond and Pearl. That's where the money comes from. We're helping Game Freak out. They're not making enough money.
I think they're lacking. Yeah, they need the extra billion at this point.
And Dialga went up against 81, which is the sound.
Oh, this is a good one. Wo Xian.
From the newest games. Actually, this is one legendary Pokemon that is an off-brand Pokemon, like an off-title cover Pokemon that I actually did get. I actually did get this one in the newest game, which is Scarlet Violet.
Hold on. I'm so confused. Wo Xian is a snail-like Pokemon. What we just heard sounds like a horse to me.
I don't think it's a horse. I think it's some sort of I wouldn't call it like a neigh, right? It's like a grass. Is it grass poison? No, it's grass dark. It's like a grass snail. So you can kind of think of it like going through breaking sticks and leaves and all that. So that's that part of the sound.
But what about the boo? You know?
It's not really that, but that's not a neigh though. It's just like it's more like a grumble.
I'm gonna get disappointed by all the other horse sounds we've heard. I think there was 3. There were 3 horse sounds I heard. Distinct 3 horse sounds. So this is the first one. It's a snail, apparently. I'm surprised. This is so far the most surprising one.
There you go. But it's a dark snail, a dark grass snail, with leaves on its body and like a kind of like a trunky shell made out of tree bark. But yeah, this is one of the Pokemon that I actually did end up getting in Scarlet Violet before I beat the game. The several legendary Pokemon of this type in Scarlet Violet are actually really annoying. See, Scarlet Violet, they made it an open world, right? So the way you get these legendary Pokemons, this one and the other, I don't know, Chinese named Pokemon, are collectathons. You have to go around and like grab these like staffs that are just randomly placed in the world. And then whenever you grab however many there are, I can't remember, like 8 each or something like that, then their den opens up and then you can go fight them.
Tell me, are the modern Pokemon games the same as the first generation, where if you mess up, you lose your chance? Like, let's say you throw a Pokeball, or let's say you kill it by accident.
No, it's much nicer now. No, it's much nicer now. If you kill it, they respawn.
Oh, thank God. That was like traumatic when you were younger.
And I think for the title Pokemon, like the ones in the story, I think you have to capture it, or like gives you the choice. Like, did you really mean to kill it, or something like that? Yeah. But yeah, you can't. As far as I know, you can't. I don't know for every single one, but for a lot of them, like this one, like I remember I actually did have to come back and get this guy because I did kill him. But let's see. The grudge of a person punished for writing the king's evil deeds upon wooden tablets has clad itself in dead leaves to become a Pokemon.
They're grasping for ideas at this point.
That's kind of complicated, dude.
I remember when Pokemon were just animals from the real world, but, cartoonified, cutified. This is a ledger of people's grudges.
Here's the violet one. This one's a little more straightforward. It drains the life force from vegetation, causing nearby forests to instantly wither and fields to turn barren.
Not a very good Pokemon.
No, it's not a very good Pokemon. But this Pokemon ended up going on. It won round 1. It won round 2. It won round 3. And we really had a high opinion. But it got knocked out in round 4.
But you realize that the only reason I kept voting for it because it sounded like a horse. I genuinely thought it sounded like it was in my head until the last moment, until I saw what it looked like just now. It was a horse. They could have fooled me.
It let you down. On to round 4. We'll start with the loser. The loser is 72.
Jirachi.
Jirachi, which is this one you know, or is this just outside of?
No, I don't know this one, but it sounds Mexican.
All right, so this one's Gen 3.
Oh, I know this. I know, like, I've seen it. I've never. I think I've probably seen it in one of the movies, maybe,
Okay, all
but
right.
not in the game.
So it's like a little fairy that has a star on its head and some I don't know what those are.
Tassels.
No, they're not I don't think they're supposed to be tassels. I think they're supposed to be those like Chinese papers or
Yeah,
Japanese. What are
but
they?
but
Japanese
if you
papers?
tell
Or...
people they look like stripper tassels, they'll understand. If you tell them they look like
There you go.
Chinese papers, they don't. So they're stripper tassels.
They're stripper tassels. Yeah. Jirachi's a little fairy Pokemon that has a star on its head and stripper tassels.
And a smile on its belly from a surgery.
All the generations, especially the early ones, always had, I don't know how prevalent it is now, but always had like this Pokemon that like created everything, right? So that's what they said about Mew. Like all the Pokemon were made from Mew. And then when Celebi came around, they said that, oh yeah, really Celebi was like the guardian of time and actually is above Mew. And so in Gen 3, that was what Jirachi's role was, is he was supposed to be like the one overlooking everything. So he was really the big boss Pokemon.
Until the next generation.
Until the next generation, and then they kicked him out of that one too.
This is like the power creep in Dragon Ball Z. It's like every time Goku's got to get stronger because yet again there's somebody to defeat him.
Yeah. A legend states that Jirachi will make true any wish that is written on notes attached to its head when it awakens. If this Pokemon senses danger, it will fight without awakening. Jirachi's actually one of the guiding poses. So I really like the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games, which are like dungeon crawler roguelites. And Jirachi's one of the guiding Pokemon in one of the DS versions, the one that kind of leads your little group. But yeah, so Jirachi's a nice early one, and but he lost. He lost to this Pokemon.
Wait, what's the number?
57.
Virizion.
Actually, I wouldn't have guessed this one. I would have guessed this sound would have been one of the lake Pokemon from Gen whatever it is 4.
That sound it still sounds like a bird. Very bird-like sound to me.
Yeah, but it's not. It's a deer. It's a grass fighting deer.
It's a deer with some pretty some sexy boots. I don't know if you noticed, but like it gets some nice boots there. Yeah.
From Gen 5, so black and white. So actually, this is part of the group that included Terrakion, and it's a member of the. And these guys are, and there's 2 more, but these guys are members of the Swords of Justice.
Okay, Swords of Justice. Interesting.
That's their group. Bunch of like horse, deer, bull Pokemon, and he's in the movie Kyurem versus the Sword of Justice.
So Kyurem is the one trying to defeat the Swords of Justice so that he can take over the forest.
This Pokemon fought humans in order to protect its friends. Legends about it continue to be passed down. So wait, it's actually not that nice of a Pokemon. It looks like somebody who'd be friends with humans.
Looks like something that would be on a fashion show.
That's true.
Has there ever been a Pokemon fashion show in the games?
There are Pokemon beauty pageants.
That's right. No, that I remember, but fashion shows where they actually like strut out onto the walkway.
I don't think so. Anyways, Virizion made it through round 1, but got knocked out in round 2. All right, matchup 5. Here we go. Between number 40. Oh, no, we'll do the other one. It was between 40 and 89. 89 was the loser.
That's Melmetal, everybody. Is it a metal Pokemon?
Seeing all these names really makes you realize how bad their naming protocol is.
Well, nowadays, back in the old days, it was pretty good, I'd say. I still remember the old school Pokemon. This one, it just makes no sense.
Melmetal is indeed a steel Pokemon.
Thank God. Can you imagine if it was like a grass Pokemon?
It's like a golem. It's another like golem type.
It's made out of what are those called?
Like nuts and bolts.
Nuts and bolts, yeah. Well, mostly the nuts, I guess.
From Generation 7, which was Sun and Moon. This is our first Sun and Moon legendary. I don't think there are too many Sun and Moon legendaries because Sun and Moon did a lot of the Ultra Beasts, which I think they put in place of legendary Pokemon. So there weren't a heck of a lot of them. But Melmetal was one of them.
It's still jarring to me that like there are legendaries that have evolved forms or that are evolved, because you wouldn't count the unevolved Meltan as a legendary, right?
No, that's true.
And yet the evolution is considered legendary. It's just strange to me. It's like saying Arcanine is a legendary.
Yeah, but Meltan is not like, it's true. But Meltan is not really... Meltan's a bastard child because it wasn't introduced in the main games. It was introduced in Pokemon Go.
Ah, okay, I see. But it looks so cute and cuddly.
But you're right. You're right. It's kind of weird, but Melmetal when it was in Sun and Moon was just Melmetal.
Oh, without evolving?
Yes, it didn't have Meltan. Meltan only existed in when Pokemon Go came out, or whenever they did the event. Yeah. Wait, it says it has no Pokédex entry in Sun, Moon, Ultra Sun, and Ultra Moon, but that's where it debuted.
That's how much of a legendary Pokemon it is.
Oh no, I get it. Pokemon Go is part of Gen 7. So actually, okay, so no. Okay, so I retract my statement. This is also a bastard child.
Well, even the legendary Pokemon?
Yes, so Melmetal actually also debuted in Pokemon Go.
So how the hell is it a legendary then?
I don't know. I don't know. Even Melmetal was introduced in Pokemon Go. It evolved from Meltan, but if you get Meltan and Melmetal into the core game, which apparently you can do in Sword, Shield, and Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, they don't evolve.
So you get them how they are. You never evolve them, but you can get them individually.
That's right. Somehow.
Actually,
you have to transfer them from... You have to transfer... They're not even in the game. You have to transfer them from Pokemon Go. He's all over the place. At the end of its lifespan, Melmetal will rust and fall apart. The small shards left behind will eventually be reborn as Meltan.
Except for in the mainline Pokemon game.
Except for in the real games.
There is just dead.
Yeah. Which is interesting because that's a Pokédex entry from the real game. That's from Sword and Shield.
Sad. A little bit sad.
All right, that brings us to 40. The one that beat out Meltan.
Except for the crystalline effect at the end. The trademark crystalline effect.
That's probably what killed it.
But that's Eternatus.
From Generation 8, which is Sword and Shield.
Gigantic draconic alien Pokemon. Now we're dealing with aliens. That's great.
Yep.
I mean, it looks cool. You gotta admit, it looks legendary.
I think this is a Pokemon you can get in the main story, I think.
But it's not on the covers of any of those.
But it's not on the covers, yeah. The mechanic in Sword and Shield was like making your Pokemon really big, which was called Gigamax and Gigantamax, I think. Gigamax, if that was just making them big. Gigantamax was some Pokemon, when they went big, had a different form.
Gotta go big or go home.
That's right. And it was only a temporary thing. You can only do it in certain areas. And then everything kind of, so towards the end of that story, everything kind of started going crazy, going big and rampaging and all that. And I think this Pokemon was responsible for that. And they were actually harnessing its power to do all this stuff. And then it was going crazy. So you had to go put an end to it and capture it and whatever. And it's a very alien looking dragon thing with claws for hands. And
it looks very skeletal if you think about it. There's no meat on it, nothing.
Yeah, it's true.
I think it needs to eat something. I'm worried about it.
It really is just skin and bones. That's it. Not even skin.
There's not even skin, exactly. It's sad. I feel sorry for it. Look at that. It's gullet. It's like it's got one of those stomachs. You know those really skinny people who just have a stomach, nothing else, and not even a big stomach, but just a layer in front. That's what I feel like. It's quite sad.
Yeah, it just has like a stomach pouch.
Yeah. I'm so sorry, Eterna, whatever it is. Eternatus.
So this is actually a bad guy.
Well, maybe it's a good thing then that he's got the pouch.
Sword and Shield also deals with kind of like some history stuff where, the region had a dark, eventful past called the Darkest Day. And it was essentially a black storm that covered the Galar region, which was the Sword and Shield region. 3,000 years prior to the events of Pokemon Sword and Shield. And it was, brought on by this guy. And the people who kind of saved the day, in addition to any, heroes, the Pokemon were the title Pokemon from Sword and Shield, Zacian and Zamazenta. And then they all went to sleep, and then, they found Eternatus, and he started driving things crazy again and all that. So he's a bad Pokemon.
So why was he bad? Like, why are there bad Pokemon? I thought Pokemon were all just supposed to be...
Okay. 3,000 years ago, Eternatus attempted to stay alive by absorbing Galar's energy.
So he just wants to stay alive.
He just wanted to stay alive.
He was hungry.
That's right.
Look at him. He's barely skin and bones.
It's true. And this resulted in the Darkest Day, which was a phenomenon in the form of a black storm caused by Pokemon Dynamax. Oh, it's Dynamax and Gigantamax. That's what it's called. However, they went berserk in the process, almost destroying the region. And Eternatus was defeated by the two dogs. And then in the present day, the main bad guy brought back Eternatus to recreate the Dynamax thing for his region's Pokemon gyms, essentially. and then it went crazy.
So the human was the villain.
The human was the villain, but Eternatus was still the villain. Mewtwo to Giovanni.
Yeah, but Mewtwo had his reasons. He wasn't necessarily
Eternatus
bad.
has his reasons too.
It's hungry. Yeah, I get it. It's
Because
hungry.
he's hungry. He needs to fill his little.
He's
little
cranky.
pouch.
He's cranky because he's hungry.
Yeah.
It's like a child.
The core in its chest absorbs energy emanating from the lands of the Galar region. This energy is what allows Eternatus to stay alive. It was inside a meteorite that fell 20,000 years ago. And so Eternatus went on and won his first round and got knocked out on the second round. Round 6. I don't think we're getting through.
Match
Pokemon.
6. We always confuse round and match.
Yeah, I always say round. Yeah, I mean match. Match 6 between 56 and 73. Here's 56, the loser.
Rayquaza.
Rayquaza.
I don't actually know Rayquaza though. Like I know it, but I don't know it. So wait, Gen 3
Ruby and
was yeah. No,
Sapphire.
I've played Ruby and Sapphire, but I don't remember Rayquaza.
I think you could only get Rayquaza. Oh yeah, there's a very special event you needed to do for that one.
Because I've seen it. I've seen the Pokemon. I've heard the name, but I've never actually encountered it. The game mascot of Pokemon Emerald. Emerald is the combo. I only played one of the two. I forget which one. Maybe Ruby.
You can still get him in the other two, but he ends the conflict between Kyogre and Groudon.
So that's probably how I know it then.
Yeah, he is in the story, yeah. And he's the leader of the super ancient Pokemon, which is him, Kyogre, and Groudon.
So it was just him settling a dispute between friends.
That's true. That's all it was. And yeah, he's a long flying green snake thing.
He's got little hands though. If you look, he's got tiny little twig arms.
Yeah, he does. You're right. And Rayquaza lived for hundreds of millions of years in the Earth's ozone layer, never descending to the ground. This Pokemon appears to feed on water and particles in the atmosphere.
So he's the one causing the hole in the ozone layer.
It's true. We've solved that, that's actually not a thing anymore.
There's no hole anymore?
There's no hole in the ozone layer,
Because they killed Rayquaza.
That's it. That's exactly what happened. And Rayquaza lost to this Pokemon, 73.
Lost to suicide.
Well, not quite. Suicune from Gen 2.
Oh, that's how you pronounce it. I thought it was Suicune. Suicune. No, I think it's Suicune.
I've always said Suicune, but that doesn't necessarily mean much.
I think in Japanese it's Suicune.
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 Thank you, Google. Google says that.
No, that's right. It's correct.
I wonder if Google's just guessing.
No, like I said, the Japanese does translate to Suicune.
Well, there you go. So he's a water type legendary dog in Gen 2. So again, I mentioned it earlier, like you have the trio of Zapdos, Articuno, and Moltres. In this one, you have Suicune, Entei, and Raikou. And they run around the world, and you have to find them in the grass, and they're really friggin' annoying. But yeah, anyways, he's a water dog. I actually think, so like I said earlier, like I usually like the electric Pokemon, but I think I like Suicune the most out of all the dogs.
And why is that?
I don't know, I just like his design.
I don't like any of them, actually. I don't like any of the dogs
Really?
compared to the birds.
No, the birds are definitely better, I think.
Because look at Raikou. He looks just terrible.
He looks like an old man.
And
He just
then
looks like an old man dog.
Entei is because I remember him from, he was in the show, I guess, or what? That's how I know him best. He's probably the better looking of them. Suicune, I guess, is fine. Suicune's got that nice looking purple hair. You got to admit, that's a
He's got that flowing mane.
Exactly, flowing mane. But he's got the life preserver on his forehead, so I don't know.
Anyways, he's pure water, and he is said to be the reincarnation of North Winds. It can instantly purify filthy, murky water.
So he can save the world by giving everybody drinkable water.
That's right. We're entering a drinking crisis, a water crisis, and we need Suicune now more than ever. So Suicune, who was number 73, won the first round, and again got knocked out in the second round. A lot of Pokemon get knocked out in the second round. Statistically, almost half of them.
Well, the sounds aren't particularly good, right? They're kind of...
And again, the earlier ones you knew they weren't going to be. They were going to be very simple, very one note. All right, we'll do one more. Matchup 7 between 41. 41 was the loser, so let's go to 41.
This is Azulf.
So I mentioned those 3 lake Pokemon earlier. This is one of them. He's from Gen 4, which is Diamond and Pearl. And they're lake guardians. And it's just a group of like fairy-esque I guess they're all psychic.
But he looks like a fairy, yeah.
And yeah, he's just a legendary trio created by Arceus to protect the lakes.
So one legendary Pokemon created 3 other legendary Pokemon.
Arceus is one of those power jump Pokemon where actually it wasn't Mew and it wasn't Celebi.
And it wasn't the stripper.
Yeah, and it wasn't the stripper. Arceus is actually the one who created everything until the next generation, and then actually somebody created Arceus. Yeah, this is about what I would expect from that sound. That sound sounds like this guy. This is a non-surprising sound. But he's psychic. He's got like a little blue hat on and a long
That's
tail.
not a hat. That's his head.
How do you know? How do you know it's not just... He's got 2 parts.
What do you mean he's got 2 parts?
Because the other part of his head is light blue, right?
Yeah, but
he's got this.
It's like...
So maybe the hat just comes down and like is part of a mask or something.
I feel like everything... Because it's true, like some Pokemon, it looks like they have masks or hats, but ultimately, I think it's all part of the Pokemon. It's not like they're wearing clothing, right?
I don't know. Maybe he's learned shame, and he's like, this is what I got to do. Known as the being of willpower, it sleeps at the bottom of a lake to keep the world in balance.
This is the being of willpower, the god of willpower, according to the Japanese. This is the Pokemon that makes sure that people have the will to do what they need to do. When you think of willpower, think of that sound.
That's right. And it went up against 88.
Which is Heatran.
Which beat it.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense. Very fiery. Fiery explosive is what I think of when I hear that sound. Although this one doesn't look like a legendary Pokemon in my opinion. It looks kind of just like a normal.
Yeah. It just looks, I don't even know how you would describe this thing. It's 4-legged and it's kind of just like
It's wearing a helmet.
It is wearing a helmet, see?
But to your point, right?
On. It's got a brown body with rocks all over it.
But see, if you look at it really carefully, like just open the picture and just look at it for maybe 10 seconds without looking away, you really start to see how poor Game Freak is at Pokemon design nowadays.
It's not a good design.
It's a terrible
It's not,
design.
especially for a legendary. Especially for a legendary, it's not a good design.
Like compare this to Cubone. Cubone is fantastic. Is really well designed, and then you look at this Pokemon and you just cringe.
Yeah. It was introduced in Gen 4, which is Diamond and Pearl. It's Fire and Steel. There's not much to say about him. He's a pretty ugly Pokemon. It doesn't seem like it also seems like he doesn't have any like lore. So it's a Pokemon, it's a legendary Pokemon that they just kind of threw in because they needed to meet a quota. That's kind of what this Pokemon seems like.
He's less legendary than Arcanine.
He's not part of any Guardians. Yeah, he's not part of any Guardians, or it doesn't seem like he's responsible for making anything or protecting anything.
He looks even worse in the cartoon.
Yeah, I was looking at that actually. It actually does. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know what it is with this guy, but he's Fire Steel. He dwells in volcanic caves. It digs in with its cross-shaped feet to crawl on ceilings and walls. Regardless of all that, we did vote it through the first round.
Well, the sound is good. So this is the whole thing about looks. The sound to me sounds pretty good.
It's true. Yeah. That's why we didn't want to know what the Pokemon were, because we didn't want to base it on how they looked or what we knew about them.
Because let's be honest, it'd probably be like Zapdos that would win if it was just based on looks. One of a handful that actually looks good when it comes to legendaries. It seems like most of these new legendaries, I don't like what they look like. They look pretty bad.
But anyways, so he went through the first round, he went through the second round, and he got knocked out in the third round. So he went pretty far. So again, to the point, that would he have gone that far if we knew what he looked like? If we knew what Pokemon it was? Chances are not. That took quite a while to do. So we're just gonna call it there.
We're just gonna elongate this for the entire season. There's no tournament for this season. I didn't plan on anything, and I don't think you did either. So we're just gonna, keep going with this for the next few, at least.
However long it lasts. We'll maybe cut it down though, so we can do other stuff.
Yeah, but still, this will be the thing we do in lieu of a tournament.
So this tournament was really kind of a two-parter.
I guess so, yeah. Only because, we're spending quite a bit of time on them. I was just thinking, let's just play the sounds, say the name, that's it. But yeah, it's more fun to talk about the Pokemon. We haven't done that since the first season.
That's true. Yeah, it's interesting to talk about them and, see where they come from and what conversation derives from it. So
exactly. And more complaining about Game Freak. Everybody loves to complain about Game Freak.
At the Summer Games Fest, they announced a Game Freak's doing a Souls-like.
Oh.
It actually looks really good, but all they showed was a trailer, right? So who actually knows?
Is it going to have like creature catching or no?
No, it doesn't look like it. It looks like it's just a Souls-like. I watched a few streamers watch the trailer, and they all said the same thing. Like, it's very obvious that Game Freak is capable. It's just Nintendo and the Pokemon Company or whatever that kind of limits their abilities in these games. And I'm like, hold on a second. Game Freak has only made one good game in its entire history, and it was some horse racing game on like the Game Boy or something like that.
Well, come on. The original Pokemon games were pretty good.
Yeah, but even then, like I don't know if you ever heard this story. Like the Gold and Silver, they were so poorly optimized that they had the original Pokemon designer come in, the original Pokemon developer come in, whatever his name was, and he optimized the entire game himself, and he had so much room left on the game cart. That's why they added the entire first region again.
Ah, okay.
Even in the early games, Game Freak, maybe they were good games, but they didn't know what they were doing developmentally wise.
Well, it's a success story. It's for anybody who's self-conscious about their abilities. Just look at Game Freak, and you'll succeed.
True. That's what I always think of. Well, that can't be worse than Game Freak.
And they made it, so there you go.
They did another RPG. It was called Little Town Hero or something like that, maybe 5 or 6 years ago. And it was not a very good, it wasn't a good game. And that was just them. That wasn't a Pokemon game or anything like that, right? So I'm thinking, like, on one hand, like, this trailer did look really good. And if this is what they're actually capable of, that's wild. But also, I don't know how much faith I have. So
You gonna pre-order it? You gotta pre-order it.
I'm not gonna pre-order it.
Gotta support Game Freak. Games. Tell them you don't want any more Pokemon games. You just want more Souls-like from them.
Well, if this one's good, yeah, absolutely. Or I just want Pokemon Company to back off and let Game Freak actually design a good Pokemon game.
I would like a Pokemon Souls-like. That would be pretty cool, I think.
Me too, actually.
Where it's like basically Dark Souls, but you just fight giant versions of Pokemon. So the bosses would be like a giant Pikachu instead of the Taurus Demon.
I don't think they want humans fighting Pokemon, though. That's like, even in like Arceus, where the Pokemon will like shoot attacks at you, you actually have no real way of fighting back against them.
Oh, come on. That's ridiculous. That's like what people tell you. Oh, you're getting bullied? Just you use your words. Go tell on this person.
It's pretty much that.
Instead of actually standing up for yourself. That's crazy. That game's arse.
Arceus. We'll be slamming on Game Freak for their Pokemon games anyways over the next several streams or several podcasts, but not Game Freak as a whole. We're gonna give them the benefit of the doubt with this new Souls-like. That's probably not coming out for 4 years because it'll probably get stuck in development hell.
Well, they're gonna come out with 4 new Pokemon games before that one comes out.
Well, that's true. They already got ZA coming out later this year, so that's one.
What's it called?
Pokemon ZA.
ZA.
Z-A.
Is that like Pokemon Z and Pokemon A, or is that Pokemon ZA as one game?
It's one game. It's like it's another Legends game, so it's like Arceus.
Oh, okay. I thought they were gonna just start going through the whole alphabet.
No, it's like Arceus, and it's based on so the reason it's named that way is it's based on the XY generation.
I see. So yes, they are going through the whole alphabet.
Yeah. There you go. On that note, why don't you tell us what the word of the fortnight is, and then we'll move into our movie review.
Yeah, we're completely backwards now, aren't we?
We are backwards today.
All right. Let's do it. So the word of the fortnight this time around is tenterhook. Tenterhook. It's a noun, and it seems like you've heard it, but it means a sharp hooked nail used especially for fastening cloth on a tenter. And a tenter is a frame used for drying and stretching cloth. Now, this I chose not because of the word itself, but because of the expression. The expression is on tenterhooks, which means being in a state of uneasiness, strain, or suspense. And my example is, everyone is on tenterhooks waiting to find out who won the tournament. This only made sense if the word of the fortnight would have come before the tournament. But anyway, it still works. And, this word, like all the others that we've had so far in the past few months, comes from Genshin Impact. But have you heard it before? You sounded excited about it.
No, I just thought it was an interesting
It
word.
is, yeah. That's as soon as I heard that, I was like, man, this sounds pretty cool.
So these are the hooks like in a coat room.
No, I don't think it's those. I think it's because I looked it up. I looked up what a tenter is.
Yeah, but it could be.
I guess it could be, but it's mostly for because in a coat room you're not really hanging to dry. You're just hanging. But here it's like you're trying to hang the clothing instead of using the what are they called? Clothesline clips. Instead of using those in a clothesline, it's like a bunch of
And then you put them right through the fabric.
scaffolding. Yeah, you kind of just, which is weird, right? Okay. I mean, you're sticking nails through the fabric. I don't know how that's really good for the fabric.
So so they're hooks over a large wooden frame, and the large wooden frame is called a tenter. And so you stretch it across. Okay, so I kind of see, and you put it in. So it's a way of like, I guess, to dry it without causing the fabric to shrink. Yeah, because a lot of the old fabrics would shrink under certain conditions. We don't have that problem usually nowadays.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So to keep it from shrinking, you keep it stretched out on this frame, and you pretty much drive it through the hooks so that it doesn't have any room to move.
That makes sense then, yeah. Because nowadays, I mean, obviously things still shrink if you put them in the dryer sometimes, but it's very rare.
Sometimes, but a lot of it is not. Yeah, it's not as big a problem it was in 20 years ago.
It's fascinating how clothing has changed. Clothing and fabrics and so on, how they make them so that they don't shrink that way.
Same with running colors. You don't get a lot of, dye processes have changed a lot, so you don't get a lot of running colors anymore. A lot of people, I know growing up, it was always, separate your colors from your whites and all that kind of stuff. Now you don't really have to worry about that.
No more pink shirts.
Yeah, it's true. And the area that all this would take place in is the tenter ground or tenter field.
It's all about tenters.
Yeah, all about tenters, an area used for drying newly manufactured cloth after fulling. Fulling is a step in woolen cloth making, which involves the cleansing of woven cloth to eliminate oils, dirt, and other impurities and make it shrink by friction and pressure.
Thank God there was no word that we didn't know in that sentence. Otherwise, we would have went down yet another rabbit hole. I love those words where it's like, I'll look up the definition and it just refers me to another word that I don't know.
Well, there you go. That's a good word. In Genshin Impact. Oh, that Genshin Impact.
That Genshin Impact. It's got everything.
On that note, let's talk about a movie that has few words.
Oh, man.
You can say about
it.
I
love this movie.
Airborne.
This movie, Airborne, 1993. I loved it. It was great. Because you know what it reminded me of? It's because my favorite movie of all time, it too has rollerblading through the streets.
What's your favorite movie of all time?
Hackers. I think it's from 1999. Yeah. But anyway, that movie as well has rollerblading. So I do think that the 90s had a thing for rollerblades.
Listen, this movie made no fucking sense.
Why?
It made no sense.
It was perfect.
It was either like it was written by like 4 different writers who didn't talk to each other, or one guy who wrote it over the space of 2 years and like would start the project, write like 5 lines and then put it down for a month and then pick it back up, and without even looking at what he wrote some more.
What didn't you like? What wasn't consistent for you about it?
Okay, so you get this California surfer dude, right?
Who, by the way, is incredibly charismatic. You got to admit, he's like Gandhi.
He wasn't that. I don't know. I don't think so. You get this California surfer dude who kind of slipped in and out of playing the California surfer role throughout the movie. So there was that. Like every once in a while, he would talk with the accent, with like the the way
accent,
the California surfer dudes talk. Yeah, and then actually you say that, but it's not. The accent that I hate the most is Brooklyn accents.
Oh, really? You don't like Brooklyn accents? Oh, okay.
I don't like Brooklyn accents. Hey, get out of here! The ones that are like that.
Well, the really exaggerated ones. I doubt that they really talk like that, right?
No, there are ones that you get like that's. Just because that's the only like one I can actually do in the accent.
The overly exaggerated one, yeah.
But they have this way of like pronouncing things, and I hate it. Or the long, the Brooklyn accent or the New Jersey accent, whatever it is. But then California is also up there too. So he slept in and out of that all the time throughout the movie. But he starts out in California as a surfer dude. His parents, worst fucking parents in the planet, are like, yeah, we're going to move to Australia and leave you for 6 months with somebody else.
Well, because they're researchers, right? They're researchers.
Why wouldn't you take the kid? The entire reason they wouldn't take the kids because it's going to interrupt his school. 6 months is an entire semester. Put him in an Australian school.
Well, the funny thing is, though, like it would interrupt his schooling. He would interrupt his schooling by going to Cincinnati. It's not like the school system's the same. It's a completely different state.
Yeah, on the other side of the country. So that didn't make sense. Whatever.
Because they're researchers. Like researchers are usually framed as being bad parents in these movies.
That's actually true, yeah. He goes to Cincinnati. It's storming fucking snow, right? The next day, there's no snow.
It's Cincinnati. I believe that wholeheartedly.
No, that's not how it works.
Yeah, it is.
It's not how weather works. It doesn't matter. Even in the most extreme climate area, you're not going to have a blizzard one day and literally no snow and not even cold. Like they were out there in like almost nothing. Like none of them were wearing coats. Like they were, the worst you got was somebody wearing you don't go from a blizzard to a heat wave that melts all the snow and dries it. By the way, also dries it all out.
Oh, they got some really good salt
day.
in those states. They just put it down. It just kills everything. All the moisture's gone. It's just desiccant. No, one thing related to so he just lands. I love this part. I love it. It's so nostalgic. He lands. He gets off the plane. He's on the runway with his surfboard. Oh, the days where you were allowed to do what he was doing. You don't get that anymore. They don't let you anywhere near the plane unless you're in the little aisle to get onto the plane. This is crazy.
I like the parents. I like the
Cincinnati parents.
Cincinnati parents. So the one parent was, which I was very pleased to see because I've never seen him in anything else, but I knew him right away, is he played Mr. Dewey on Saved by the Bell.
Oh, I never watched Saved by the Bell.
Oh, I loved Saved by the Bell. It's what I used to always watch getting ready for school in the mornings. So I always watched it. And so one of the teachers was that guy. And I've never seen him in anything else. So I was very, very pleased to see that. And the mom, I know her. I've seen her in other things. I don't know who she is or anything like that. I couldn't point anything out. But I know I've seen her in other things. Probably playing the exact type of character.
I think she does that. I've also seen her. I just don't remember where exactly.
But then, so let's move on. So he gets to school and he meets all these people who don't like him, except for the pretty popular girls who already have a jock boyfriend.
Yeah, one of them is just all over him. Like, she doesn't have any care about the boyfriend sitting one row to her other side.
But here's the thing. It was for 10 minutes, and then you never saw her again.
Yeah, well, the boyfriend made sure of that.
Well, but only very passively, and not even because of that. So they were like, okay, let's waste those 10 minutes and show the California boy shirtless and waving.
Yeah, did you like that part? Come on, think about it. I love when they do this. So I don't know. It happens nowadays more often, I think, but in the 90s, I didn't see this very often, where they'll show something happening, but it's just in the character's head. But it's not it's not obvious because there's no filter on top of anything. It just looks like a scene that's happening right then and there.
It's true.
They did a good job.
But then, okay, here's the other part of this fever dream. So it was from the blonde popular girls thing, but they kept showing the redhead doing it too.
Yeah. They're on the same wavelength.
Were they both doing the same thing?
They're really good friends. Teenage girls back in those days, they were on the same wavelength for everything.
Then he goes to a hockey game because why not?
Hey, it's hockey. Seth Green was talking about that even before. He was like, it's all about hockey here.
Right. Okay. So that perfectly explains why they do the downhill roller skate race at the end of
that's a separate thing. You're right. But we'll talk about that after. But the hockey,
yeah, we're getting to it. We're doing it sequentially right now. Yeah, I'm doing it sequentially right now. So he goes to the hockey game, gets drafted to play in the game by the people he hates for I guess because they just want to embarrass him. But realistically, you're never going to do that in a game that you really want to win. The guy can skate perfectly and play hockey like nobody's
because he's really good at rollerblading.
He's from California!
But he's really good at rollerblading. This was supposed to show how you can transfer skills from rollerblading to ice skating. It's very similar, I guess.
But when did they ever... Okay, so he goes onto the hockey rink. I'll get to the rollerblading thing at large in a minute because we're almost there. He goes on the hockey rink, can ice skate no problem, but apparently doesn't know anything about hockey because he gets a goal on his own team.
Yeah.
Which is just... also incredible.
I would do that. That's something I would do easily.
No, I mean, listen, I've done it in like video games like Rocket League and all that. But live, when you have time to prepare, it's not even like he was starting. He was literally playing just the end of the game because he scored the game-winning goal for the other team. So he had the entire time to watch the
No,
hockey
but
game.
he was schmoozing the ladies.
Whatever. There's no way he didn't know. Like,
If you were being accosted by a bunch of pretty girls, you would also not be worried about the hockey game.
well, maybe not, but still, he gets on there and gets a goal, and he gets knocked out, and then all of a sudden the weather is perfect. Nobody mentions ice skating ever again.
Yeah, well, why would you? You know, that's in the past.
And he
now.
gets a pair of rollerblades. I don't know where. Did they even?
No,
Okay,
the
so
parents
now
sent, the
so
parents
now we're
sent
into
a
the
package.
rollerblading.
The parents sent a package.
Oh, his parents sent
And
a package. Okay.
he was like, "Man, I can't believe I forgot these." That was the best
And then he
part.
just goes out, and he's this roller skating god.
But he was at the beginning of the movie as well, right? He was rollerblading it up in California before surfing. So we knew that he was really good at it.
But this was like a whole other freaking level.
Nah, come on. He's really good. I was surprised about the other people being really good though.
Well,
We'll get
that's
to
what I was
that.
going to say next. Is like they're all good.
This was the days of everybody being really good at rollerblading.
So he ends up getting with this girl, not one of the popular ones. Maybe she's popular. I don't know. I mean, realistically, she would be because she was very attractive. But she gets with this girl. They go to Garden Center, which is, again, there's no snow and there's no cold or anything like that.
Well, they go to the greenhouse though, right?
The greenhouse, yeah, whatever it is.
So even if
yeah.
it was cold outside, it'd be warm inside.
They were outside at some point during that exact same scene, and there was the green grass was
Cincinnati,
green.
it's all Cincinnati, man. That's how it is. That's how I
So
know
once
of it
again,
now.
the weather, and I'm just so confused, and I'm just trying to figure out the timeline here, and I'm just losing my mind. And so, anyways, they're on a date they go on a date at the diner. Seth Green is there. Oh yeah, and then Seth Green puts on this fashion show, and the California kid
He's hysterical. He just laughs for
does the
5
fakest
minutes.
of fake laughs.
I loved it.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
It was the most drawn out scene I've ever seen in a movie ever. The most needlessly drawn out scene.
He gives a good life lesson. He's like, just be yourself, man. And then Seth Green goes back to his not being himself by trying to play it up again.
It's true. So they go on a double date, and Seth Green is awkward, as Seth Green is want to be. And then they find out the girl is the sister of his main bully. But then there's another bully team. But then there's another bully guy from the other team
The
of
preps.
whatever.
The preps,
I don't
they
even
call
know what
them.
the preps.
The rich kids, I guess.
This guy refuses to do absolutely anything to stand up for himself in any situation.
The surfer dude.
Yeah, the surfer dude. In any situation. So he gets almost his ass kicked twice at this restaurant, but refuses to stand up for himself, which is wild to me.
Well, what could he do if you think about it? He was basically doing the Zen thing, and I think he pulled it off. I mean, well, continue, because we'll get to the part where he found a way to fix all his problems.
So then, after the hockey incident, he somehow ends up playing another game, but this time roller hockey for the same people, against the same people as the hockey game. And everybody's okay with it, I guess, because he only scored on his own team, during the actual hockey game once, and everybody hates him for it. But apparently they forgot, because the first thing I'm going to do is when I'm trying to draft a team member is draft the one who scored on us during an important game. But they do, so he gets to play
It's a second
roller
chance.
hockey again.
Cincinnati's all about second chances.
He gets to play roller hockey again. He almost gets into another fight. Zones out with the stupidest expression on his face, like he just thought of the fucking cleverest thing ever, and pulls down his pants.
So this is what we learned.
And the guy
from
wasn't
movie.
even wearing underwear.
This is what we learned from the movie. The trick to dealing with bullies is pantsing another bully. He won the respect of his bullies by pantsing the prep bully. It's great.
It's true, and then he won the respect of his
all
bullies.
in a
Yeah.
non-violent way. Gandhi would be proud. And you're right, he wasn't wearing underwear. He was wearing just the jockstrap.
He wasn't wearing just a jock strap
Hey,
for some reason.
it's Cincinnati summer, man.
That's right. He was also wearing shorts. During this, a couple weeks after this huge blizzard, the guy was wearing shorts. Also, the timeline doesn't match up because he was supposed to go to school for 6 months. So that would imply it was January when he landed. He still had 3 months to go. So this was like early March that this had to take place. The weather wasn't like that. So you can't even, it doesn't make sense.
Nah, come on. It's great weather in Cincinnati.
It doesn't make sense.
Have you been to Cincinnati?
But then Raji, it's not like that.
I don't know. I've never been, but I'm sure according to this movie, which I trust wholeheartedly, I think it's the best place on earth, weather-wise.
It's not that far from us. Like, it's not that far from where we live.
I don't know where Cincinnati is, honestly.
It's not that far. It's a little bit south, but not like Florida. It's like, okay, hold on. It's probably pretty close to the same drive as it would be from where I live to Ottawa.
But in the opposite direction. So however much colder Ottawa is, you just go the opposite way. That's how much warmer Cincinnati is.
No.
And then you convert it to Fahrenheit, so it's like 3 times as warm.
Right. Yeah, I forgot about the conversion. That really changed it. That really changed it. But anyway, so he won the respect of his team. And now all of a sudden, to settle the grudge match from hockey and roller hockey, they're going to do a big downhill race, roller skating race on something called Devil's Pass or Devil's Peak.
Devil's Back.
Oh, Devil's Back. Down Devil's Back, which wasn't Devil's Back anyways, because it went through the fucking city. So it's not even like it was.
It's dangerous,
It's
though.
not even like it was. Because of the cars, because you're not supposed to be rollerblading in a fucking city street.
That was hilarious, though. Like, you gotta admit, they got some balls to be going through full-on traffic.
I had to look this up because I was like, this is it was like so again, going back to the writer writing his thing, he had just watched the John Cusack movie, which is where this was made popular, Better Off Dead from 1985. So they do the exact same thing they do, except it was skiing. He does a big skiing downhill race against his bully. But it was like the writer was like, oh, what if we did that, but there was no snow? Because apparently there was no snow in Cincinnati.
It's Cincinnati, yeah.
3 weeks after it stormed. So what if we just did that in rollerblading instead? So that's what they did. So the next 20 minutes of the movie is them rollerblading down Devil's Back, going through, and somehow the California kid who doesn't even know the city at all is like fucking skating through aqueducts and canals.
I didn't understand. Like, I couldn't keep up with where to go. I don't understand how he did. Did they tell him the route beforehand?
That's what I mean.
It's very impressive. You have to admit, he did a really good job.
But it wasn't even the normal route. He went a completely different way from the actual people
cheated.
who knew where they were going.
He cheated.
But still, he ended up somewhere. And then he was losing, and he jumped off a car, off an overpass, onto a truck, onto his knees.
Oh, yeah.
And instead of his thigh bone coming out of his hip, like should have happened because he fell like fucking 40 feet, he just skids down the ramp and knocks another guy into the water and wins the race.
He doesn't knock him into
with his former bully.
He uses nonviolence by stopping just short, and the guy just goes overboard on his own. It was beautiful. Again, Gandhi would be proud.
You mentioned earlier, and we didn't go back to it. All of them, this race was like, these were like fucking professional roller skaters. Like, they were down in their thing, in their little position, in their crouch position. Like, they were all professionals.
What's it called?
There were like 12 of them in that race.
What's it called when you're rolling behind somebody to avoid the wind resistance?
Oh yeah, they were doing the to get the wind from them. Yeah, so they were doing all that, or to cut the wind resistance. Yeah, so I can't remember what it was called, but yeah, so they were doing all that. Like, they were doing the most professional things. At one point early on in the race, one of the other team like tries to push the California kid into the guardrail, and he starts to skate with 1 foot on the ground and 1 foot on the guardrail.
Man, he learned well in Cali.
But they were all like that. They were all he wasn't even the winner. It was the fucking 1.1 GPA Mexican guy.
Yeah, he's got the hidden talent. He's got the hidden talent. He's really good.
Yeah, just randomly they were like, this guy's gonna be the one that wins. So it was the first 3 from the team to win to cross the finish line. So that's why it didn't end when this first guy. But this first guy just nonchalantly just crosses the finish line like 20 minutes before everybody else. Like, he did it so early. It was like the beginning of there was still half the race when he crossed the finish line. And then 2 guys from the other team, again, who weren't even the main bully or anything like that. Like, somehow the best athletes in their schools or their groups or whatever aren't even the leaders, which is not usually how it works.
But that's it's a really good lesson for anybody who's struggling, who's like, maybe I'm not the best at this sport, but I could sure as hell be the best at downhill rollerblading.
And so they win, and then they get the girl.
But
and...
it was scary. One of the crashes was a guy, one of the rollerbladers. He fell down and he went right under a car.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they went under the truck.
Oh
and,
my god!
Like they were doing all this crazy shit.
Cincinnati,
and I'm just like, this is
man.
not what's happening with a group of teenagers in Cincinnati or anywhere else.
I don't know. I've never been to
just...
Cincinnati, but this is a hectic place, it seems.
The movie just jumped around all over the place. It was nuts. It wasn't a good movie.
But come on, he gets the girl in the end. Seth Green got the girl as well.
Seth Green got the girl who hated him towards the beginning, but because he stood up to the bullies.
Exactly. That's the other lesson that you always learn in these old movies, that no matter how unattractive you are, no matter how much your crush hates you, as long as you stand up for her at some point in the movie, she'll be all over you by the end.
Yep, it's true.
It's great. It's fantastic. This movie, just beautiful.
This movie was a movie.
Now, for me, it's a close one, but Pump Up the Volume still takes King of the Hill, because it's really close, actually. It's really close. It has very similar themes.
It doesn't. It doesn't even have similar themes.
I mesh well with the kids in this movie. We have the same mindsets, I think, similar. And Gandhi would be proud, but Pump Up the Volume still takes it. But in your case, I guess, maybe not the top for you.
This is very near the bottom in terms of movies.
Oh, hold on. Abduction is worse or better? This is the gauge for me.
No, Abduction is worse. Abduction is the bottom.
Wow.
Abduction is the bottom. It will always be the bottom. I can't even imagine watching a movie as bad as Abduction was.
Wow. Okay. Well, fair enough.
Abduction is definitely at the bottom, but this one is near the bottom. It had some amusing points, but overall, it was a badly written, badly acted, badly plotted, badly everything movie.
I think the 90s
sense.
aren't your decade for movies.
It's not. But yeah, so I think Ride Along is going to stick with it for me. And it's time for our next movie. I think it's my turn.
All right, go ahead.
Here we go. Random movie generator. What are we watching this week?
Get us something good.
Dumbo.
Dumbo? Which one, though? The remake or the original?
This is the original.
19 what?
Dumbo is a bit, the original one, 1941.
41, wow. Wait, I'm curious, when was Old Yeller? Old Yeller must have been after, right? Yeah, it must have been. Yeah, 57. Old Yeller was 57. Wow, we're really dialing it back in time.
Yeah, we are.
That's going to be good, because I don't think I've seen Dumbo. Of all Disney movies, I probably haven't seen this one.
This will be a good one. It's only 64 minutes.
Maybe something to topple, Pump Up the Volume finally.
Maybe. But there we go. So everybody watch Dumbo, play some Pokemon games.
Support Game Freak.
Learn some words. Support Game Freak. And we'll catch you next time. Ciao.